You've probably heard plenty of so-called facts about dogs, but a lot of them simply aren't true. Some people say a lick from your dog is just their way of kissing you. Others swear that 1 human year equals 7 dog years. And maybe you've even heard that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's. Here's the truth: believing these myths could make you miss the real signals your dog is sending, and science proves it. In fact, veterinary studies show that many of the things we assume about dogs are not only wrong, but sometimes the opposite of what's really happening. So let's start with one of the biggest misconceptions of all. Number 1. The myth that a wagging tail always means happiness. Picture this: your dog trots up tail, moving side to side, and your heart warms because you assume they're smiling at you with their tail. But here's the truth: science says otherwise. Researchers from the University of Trento discovered that tail wagging is more like a secret language than a simple smile. A slow, low wag can whisper uncertainty like a hesitant handshake. A high, rapid wag can flash a warning almost like a red traffic light telling you to stop. And here's the detail most owners never notice: even the direction of the wag reveals emotion. Wagging more to the right often signals comfort, while wagging to the left hints at unease. Think about it. Your dog's tail isn't just decoration, it's a living compass of emotion pointing you toward what's really happening inside their mind. And if that surprised you, hold on, because the next myth is just as eye-opening. People think dogs eat grass only when they're sick. But the truth, backed by studies, will change the way you see that simple nibbling in your backyard. Number 2. The myth that dogs only eat grass when they're sick. You've seen it before: your pup bends down, nibbling the lawn like it's a fresh salad bar. Instantly, many owners panic. Oh no, something's wrong. But the science tells a different story. A landmark study from the University of California found that only 22% of dogs that ate grass vomited afterward, and just 8% showed signs of illness before munching away. So why do they do it? Imagine a child tapping their pencil when bored, or biting their nails when nervous. Dogs use grass in the same way. Sometimes it's a way to soothe anxiety. Sometimes it's pure curiosity. And sometimes it's just a pastime under the sun. Think of those green blades as your dog's fidget toy, harmless most of the time. But here's the twist: if you notice frantic grazing like a cow that won't stop, that could be the red flag telling you to check with your vet. Grass may be safe, but not everything your dog decides to chew will be. And that takes us to our next myth, one that could be dangerous if you believe it: the idea that if a food is safe for humans, it must be safe for dogs. Number 3. The myth that if a food is safe for humans, it must be safe for dogs. Picture this: you're at the dinner table, and those big brown eyes are staring up at you, silently begging for just one bite. You think, well, if it's okay for me, it must be okay for them. But here's the shocking truth: some of the foods we love most can be poison for our dogs. Veterinary studies published in the Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine confirm that even small amounts of chocolate grapes, macadamia nuts, raisins, or onions can trigger toxic reactions ranging from kidney failure to fatal heart issues. Imagine offering your best friend a piece of candy only to find out later it's more like handing them a loaded gun. And here's where it gets scary: dogs don't know the difference. To them, a grape looks like a treat, and chocolate smells like heaven. That's why it's on us to be the gatekeepers, the ones who guard their health from these silent killers hiding in plain sight. But food isn't the only place where myths can mislead us. There's another belief nearly everyone has heard: that 1 human year equals 7 dog years. Sounds neat and simple, right? Except science proves it's way more complicated than that. Number 4. The myth that 1 human year equals 7 dog years. It sounds simple, almost like a math trick you can do in your head. But dogs are not calculators. They're living, breathing creatures whose clocks tick in surprising ways. Picture a tiny chihuahua, bouncing with puppy energy at age 10, while a Great Dane may already be slowing down at age 7. Science backs this up. A study from the University of California, San Diego School of Medicine analyzed dog DNA and found that the first year of a dog's life equals roughly 15 human years, not 7. After that, the rate of aging slows, averaging about 5 human years for every 1 dog year. So where did the 7 years rule even come from? Likely because people compared the average human lifespan of 70 years with the rough average of 10 years for dogs. But averages can be deceiving. Small dogs often reach 15 or more, while giant breeds may live only half as long. Believing the 7-year myth can make owners misjudge when their dog is entering middle age or senior years, and that can mean missing crucial health care. And speaking of myths about what dogs do as they grow, let's bust another belief, one that assumes only male dogs are guilty of certain behaviors. Number 5. The myth that only male dogs hump or lift their leg to pee. Close your eyes and imagine it, a male dog in the park, chest puffed out, one leg lifted high against a tree. That's the classic picture we all carry. But here's the surprise: science tells us female dogs can be just as bold. Studies published in Applied Animal Behavior Science reveal that humping isn't always about sex. It can be a display of social dominance, a burst of overexcitement, or even a way of coping with stress. Think of it like humans tapping their feet at a concert. Sometimes it's rhythm, sometimes it's nerves, but it's not what you think. And leg lifting, female dogs join the party too. Research shows that smaller females are actually more likely to lift their legs when marking territory, as if stretching higher makes their message stand out stronger. Sometimes it's biological, like signaling to males when they're in heat. Other times, it's pure communication. This spot is mine. So next time you see your girl pup lifting her leg or trying to mount, don't be shocked. It's not a mistake. It's instinct. And while these myths may sound funny, the next one could actually put your dog in danger. It's the belief that real bones are the best thing for your dog to chew. Number 6. The myth that dogs need real bones to chew. We've all seen it in movies, a happy pup lying in the yard, gnawing away on a giant bone like it's the ultimate symbol of doghood. But behind that picture-perfect image hides a dangerous truth. Veterinary research, published by the American Veterinary Dental College, shows that real bones can splinter, slicing into a dog's mouth, throat, or stomach. They can even be so hard they fracture teeth, leaving your best friend in pain you may not notice until it's too late. Think of a bone like shattered glass, harmless until it breaks in just the wrong way. And yet, dogs love to chew. It's in their nature. It calms their nerves, cleans their teeth, and gives them comfort. The key isn't stopping them, it's giving them something safe. Durable nylon chews and rubber toys like Kongs provide the same satisfaction without the hidden risks. But here's the twist: if you don't give your dog the right outlet, they'll find one themselves. And often, that means your shoes, your furniture, or anything else within reach. So bones may look like tradition, but science says otherwise. And speaking of traditions gone wrong, let's look at another common mistake: shaving dogs in summer to keep them cool. Number 7. The myth that shaving your dog in summer keeps them cool. Imagine standing under the blazing sun, sweat dripping down your back, and you think, if I had all that fur, I'd be melting. It feels logical to grab the clippers and give your dog a buzz cut. But here's the twist: veterinary dermatologists warn that shaving can do more harm than good. According to research from the American Kennel Club, Canine Health Foundation, a dog's coat isn't just fluff, it's a natural thermostat. The double coat found in breeds like retrievers and shepherds acts like insulation, trapping cool air close to the skin while shielding against sunburn and bug bites. By shaving, you strip away this built-in armor, leaving your dog exposed and even more likely to overheat. Think of it like tearing the insulation out of your house. In July, the heat doesn't escape, it gets worse. Of course, trimming for hygiene or mats is different, but a full shave can upset their body's balance. So, before you reach for the clippers, ask your vet what's best for your pup's breed and coat. And if that myth surprised you, wait until you hear the next one, a belief that changes how we see the world itself. Many people still think dogs are completely colorblind. Number 8. The myth that dogs are completely colorblind. For decades, people imagined that our four-legged friends lived in a world painted only in black and white, like an old silent movie. But science has shattered that illusion. Studies from the Journal of the American Veterinary Medical Association confirm that dogs actually see in two main colors, yellow and blue, though their vision is less rich than ours. So when you toss a green tennis ball into the grass, it blends into a dull yellowish blur. But swap that ball for a bright blue one, and suddenly it pops like neon in their eyes. Think of it this way. Your dog's vision is like watching TV with the color settings turned down. The world isn't empty of color, it's just muted. And while they may not admire a rainbow the way we do, their sight is perfectly tuned for movement in low light, a survival gift from their wolf ancestors. So the next time you shop for toys, don't reach for green, reach for blue, if you want the game of fetch to really come alive. And speaking of how we see our dogs, here's a myth that goes deeper than eyesight. The belief that you must be the alpha pack leader or risk losing control of your dog. Number 9. The myth that you must always be the alpha pack leader. For years, dog owners were told to dominate their pets' eat. Before them, never let them walk ahead, keep them off the furniture, or else they'd try to take over the household. It sounds dramatic, like a battle for control in your own living room. But science has rewritten the story. Dr. David Mech, the biologist who popularized the alpha wolf theory in the 1970s, later admitted the idea was flawed. Modern wolf studies published in Canadian Journal of Zoology show that wolf packs aren't rival gangs fighting for dominance. They're families with parents guiding the group, not tyrants ruling with fear. Now think of your dog's eyes watching you not as an opponent, but as family. Your relationship isn't about control, it's about trust, guidance, and shared life. Treating your dog like a rival alpha doesn't build loyalty, it builds fear. And fear is the fastest way to fracture the bond that makes dogs so extraordinary in the first place. So forget the dominance games. Connection, not control, is what shapes a happy, balanced dog. And speaking of connection, let's move to the next myth 1 that questions whether a simple game of tug-of-war can actually make your dog aggressive. Number 10. The myth that tug-of-war makes dogs aggressive. Picture it, your dog grabs one end of a rope, you hold the other, and suddenly you wonder, am I teaching my pup to fight me? For decades, this game was painted as dangerous, a slippery slope into dominance and aggression. But the science tells a brighter story. A study in applied animal behavior science found that tug-of-war, when played with rules, actually strengthens the bond between dog and owner. Far from fueling aggression, it builds trust, teaches impulse control, and gives dogs a joyful outlet for their energy. Think of it like a dance. The back-and-forth pull isn't a battle, it's a conversation, a rhythm you share. And when you add commands like drop it or take it, your dog learns cooperation in the middle of excitement, one of the hardest lessons for any animal. The myth that tug-of-war creates a monster is as outdated as thinking children become violent just from playing tag. So grab that rope and play with structure, with laughter, with connection. Because games aren't just entertainment, they're language. And speaking of games, there's another myth to bust the idea that all dogs must love fetch. Number 11. The myth that all dogs love to play fetch. It's the classic picture a dog racing across the yard, ears flying, chasing after a bright tennis ball tail, wagging in triumph as they bring it back. But here's the truth. Not every dog is born with that Hollywood fetch instinct. In fact, a study from the University of Bristol found that a dog's breed genetics and early experiences shape whether they enjoy fetch at all. Retrievers were bred to carry things gently in their mouths, so the game feels natural. But for many other breeds, tossing a ball is like asking a cat to swim. They may try, but it's not in their DNA. So what happens if your dog ignores the ball and stares back at you confused? It doesn't mean they're broken or less playful. It just means their joy lies elsewhere. Tug-of-war, hide and seek, or even puzzle toys that challenge their minds. Think of it like children. Some crave soccer, others prefer chess. The real danger comes when owners push fetch as the only way to play, missing the chance to discover what truly excites their pup. Because playtime is not about the game, it's about connection. And that brings us to the next myth, one that sounds logical, but can actually backfire: the idea that a tired dog is always a good dog. Number 12. The myth that a tired dog is always a good dog. At first it makes sense: wear them out, and they'll collapse in peace, right? But here's the twist. Exhaustion doesn't always equal good behavior. Picture a toddler at the end of a long birthday party. They're tired, yes, but instead of being calm, they're screaming, crying, and throwing toys. Dogs aren't that different. Studies in applied animal behavior science show that physical fatigue without mental stimulation can actually increase problem behaviors like hyperactivity, biting, or destructive chewing. So while exercise is important, flooding your pup with endless walks or fetch sessions can tip them into overdrive, not calm. What they really need is balance, a healthy mix of physical movement and brain work. Puzzle feeders, scent games, and training drills challenge the mind and soothe the body in ways a marathon run never could. Think of it as tuning an instrument, not too tight, not too loose. The truth is, a balanced dog is a good dog, not just a tired one. And speaking of balance, let's look at the next myth. One that gets repeated so often, people take it as gospel: the claim that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's. Number 13. The myth that a dog's mouth is cleaner than a human's. It's a claim so many people repeat with pride, almost as if their pup's kiss is more hygienic than a handshake. But here's the reality. While dogs' mouths aren't necessarily dirtier than ours, they're certainly not cleaner either. Research published in the Journal of Veterinary Dentistry shows that both humans and dogs carry billions of bacteria in their mouths, but the types are different. Some of the microbes in your dog's saliva can't survive in the human body, but others can, including strains that may cause gum disease or stomach issues. Think of it like two bustling cities, both crowded, both full of life, but not the same citizens. A kiss from your dog isn't poison, but it isn't sterile either. And while most of the time it's harmless, believing the clean mouth myth can make owners careless about dental health. Without regular brushing and checkups, dogs can suffer from periodontal disease, which studies show affects up to 80% of dogs by age 3. So, no, your dog's mouth isn't magically cleaner, it just carries different passengers. And that takes us to another harmful myth about cleanliness: the idea that rubbing a puppy's nose in an accident teaches them where to go. Number 14. The myth that rubbing a puppy's nose in an accident teaches them not to do it again. Imagine this. You come home to find a small puddle on the carpet. Frustration rises, and many owners still follow the old advice, grab the pup, push their nose into the mess, and scold. It feels like discipline, but science paints a very different picture. According to studies in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, punishment-based methods don't teach dogs where to go. They only teach fear. The pup doesn't connect the act of peeing indoors with the punishment. They only learn that you, their trusted person, can suddenly become terrifying. Think of it from their eyes. One moment, you're their safe place, the next, you're a storm. Fear may silence them temporarily, but it corrodes trust and leaves confusion behind. The effective approach is positive reinforcement. Clean the spot, with an enzymatic cleaner guide them outside, and reward them for getting it right. Over time, repetition builds understanding without breaking the bond. So rubbing noses isn't training, it's trauma disguised as discipline. And that leads us perfectly into our final myth, one that many cling to because it feels sweet. The idea that when your dog licks you, it's simply their way of kissing you. Number 15. The myth that when your dog licks you, it's just their way of kissing you. It feels romantic, doesn't it? That wet tongue on your cheek as if your pup is whispering, "I love you." But the truth is more complex and maybe a little less glamorous. Ethologists studying wolves and wild canines have long observed that pups lick the mouths of returning adults not out of affection, but to stimulate them to regurgitate food. In other words, licking can be a survival instinct, a way of saying, share what you've got. Of course, our modern companions don't expect us to cough up dinner, but the behavior remains. Sometimes they lick for the taste of salt on your skin, or to investigate the smells you carry from the outside world. A study in behavioral processes even noted that licking can be a calming signal, a way for dogs to soothe themselves or show submission. And yes, at times it can mean affection, because in their world, grooming is care. So that sloppy kiss isn't always love, but it is always communication. And understanding that message is what turns myths into knowledge, and knowledge into a deeper bond. Because when you see past the legend, you see your dog more clearly than ever before. We've just unraveled some of the biggest myths about dogs, and maybe along the way, you realized that your furry friend has been speaking a language you didn't fully understand. Every wag, every lick, every strange little habit, it's all part of a story they've been trying to share with you. And here's the beautiful truth. The more you learn, the deeper your bond becomes. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one myth about dogs that you used to believe until experience or research proved you wrong? Share it in the comments, because your story might be the exact lesson another dog parent needs to hear. And if you love discovering the hidden truths about dogs and want to keep growing that incredible bond with your best friend, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join our community. We've got so many more eye-opening stories and science-backed insights waiting for you and your pup. Because at the end of the day, understanding them better means loving them better. And isn't that what they deserve most?